Merry Christmas, Happy Festivus, Happy Hanukkah, Happy everything to all of you tonight. Thank you for joining us on World Awakening. Jeff is where? Right there. Okay, right in the middle. You're usually tuned in right now to see Soul School Sojourn with my partner, Jeff Turner. And instead tonight, he's joining us for a very special celebration of friends. And of course, I have Rupert with us, who you've seen a lot of on the show, which is important because everything he says is important. So just listen to him and you'll all be fine. And of course, Jeff and Lynn Bowling. Lenny does way more admin than, it's like I think technically allowed or legal. And
I try.
Yeah, it helps me a lot, especially now. And of course, Erin Bush and Bernie. Has Bernie been banished from the room, Erin?
No, Bernie currently has peanut butter on one of those licky mats. So we have about a few minutes before I mute myself for the proverbial screaming that is coming. We know. So yeah, he's still here.
Well, we have Cass, my friend Cass is here from Michigan. I think you all know her. And of course she has her little dog, Charlotte. And we have Peanut Buttercup, of course, and Sammy. And everybody is so exhausted that they're all sleeping through the show tonight. I don't even know where they are. I can't. Oh, Peanut's right here. I have no idea where they are, but at least they're mellow, and that's a good thing. And Maisie is always well behaved, always. And Jeff, where's your dog?
She is behind those glass doors in the other room.
Oh, I see. Yes. So she's banished from the show as well.
She is banished from the room. She'd be all over me if she was in here, and she's not a small dog, so yeah.
Oh, well, Melissa, Laura, Candace. We're all here. Nikki, we are all here to be with Terry. Oh, bless your heart, honey. This is, I know, huh? Isn't that true? Oh my God. Okay. So now it's like, I'm off on, look how many of us have gathered. Look how many of us have gathered tonight. That's just a little sampling of our friends that are out there, some of whom we know. Oh, sweet. Some of whom we don't, who only know us like this. But Jeff, let's start with you tonight. Let's go back over this past year. And as we come into the Christmas season and the season of celebration, the season of light, what do you have to share about that with our audience, our friends, our viewers, our family?
That is a dangerous question that could potentially result in a very long-winded answer, but I will try to restrain myself for everyone's sake. One of the things that really this year has taught me, and every year is indeed a teacher. If we submit to it, every day is a teacher. But if we break things up like that, every day is a teacher, every week's a teacher, every month's a teacher, every year's a teacher, every decade's a teacher. This year has taught me that life is cyclical, which is something that I've known, but I very much come to face with that reality this year. And one of the lessons I have learned this year is that the only way forward is to move in circles. And what I mean by that is the only way forward, we think forward motion is forward motion. We think it's linear forward motion, but then you're just going nowhere, right? You're just endlessly walking towards a horizon that you never reach, right? But life is cyclical. We are constantly moving in circles, but that circle, it can either be that wheel of samsara that we are just constantly and hopelessly spinning on, that Ouroboros serpent that is constantly devouring its own tail, which strikes terror. It's a symbol that strikes terror into the hearts of many religious occult magic practitioners because it represents this endless cycle that we are desperate to break free from, right? But I think it's when we embrace the reality of life as cyclical that we actually become free from it. And we realize that, as I shared last week, the piano behind me, for example, I'm not a pianist. I play guitar, but if I were to go up the scales, right, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, let's say I'm playing in the key of G, I would play G, A, B, C, D, E minor, F sharp, and then I would go back to G. That's do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That first do and that last do are the same note in different octaves, right? And so life is cyclical. You're always ending back up where you started, but you're an octave higher than you were the last time you were there. And that's the power of cycles. That's the power of the cyclical nature of reality, right? And so yesterday was the solstice, right? It was our longest night, our shortest day. And I do apologize for singing, by the way, guys. That is definitely...
No, that was lovely. Rupert sings as well.
Yeah, but, we should get Bill in here. I know how much he loves to sing.
Let's just make this into like a 6-part, like, whatever.
We'll be doing show tunes. We'll be doing show tunes by the end.
Yeah. Oh, no, definitely show tunes. I
love it.
Yeah.
We could do a little Jesus Christ Superstar tonight. I mean,
I am up for that
season, you know, and my favorite piece of the whole entire rock opera is in the Garden of Gethsemane. And that's the one, huh, Lenny? Flattens me. Every time I hear it, I'm just like, the tears are just pouring down my face. Look at me, I'm like blushing thinking about it because it brings tears to my eyes. So, yeah. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about show tunes and Jesus in a little while. We have 2 whole hours.
Sorry.
Jeff, I'm glad that you revisited that. That was from, and anybody that wants a more in-depth, what you've derived from these concepts, what you've learned this year, go back to last week's Soul School and watch it. It's available on Andrea Parent YouTube, KTRA.
KTRA.
Yep.
And your personal channel.
Yeah. Yep. And so, Rupert, I know that this has been a rather tumultuous year for you. It has many, many changes. What are your takeaways as we go into the high season of light? Yeah, it's been a challenging year for me. I've found myself jobless, homeless, and it has not been easy. The takeaway that I have from this year is no matter how bad life gets, when you meet good people, when you make good friends, it makes life beautiful. And just being here today with you guys is just wonderful. We live in an individualistic society in which we're kind of taught that we should be individuals, that we should be strong by ourselves. We don't need other people. But if you actually look into actual psychology, the science of what we do need other people. And Andrea is the sort of the leader of this beautiful community of wonderful, wonderful people. And she has brought in so many people into her loving family, and not just humans. And my takeaway is, no matter how bad life seems to get, no matter how bad you're feeling, just reach out to people, find 1 or 2 good people who can be there for you, and you love them, they love you, and everything just becomes beautiful and wonderful. And easier. Yeah. A little easier. I'll speak right here personally right now on that subject, if you don't mind, before we move on to Lenny and Jeff and Erin with the same question. So that gives you time to prepare. But meeting you in Kansas City when I did, which was precisely the right time for that to happen. Even though I was a little bit resentful, you're one of those few people that I've come across in my life where I say to the universe, why couldn't we have met earlier? Think about how much more we could have accomplished if we'd had, even a 5-year head start. Mm-hmm. Now, but then I know better. I know that everything happens in its right and proper time. And you can't be on the side of that philosophy, that logic, that mindset. Sometimes you have to consistently, if that is, baked into your belief system. And for me, it is. I've lived long enough to know there's no such thing as a coincidence. That when you recognize somebody, acknowledge it, and that everything happens precisely when it should. And that's up to everything out there. It doesn't mean we don't have free will. It doesn't mean that we're each and every one of us compelled by a preordained destiny. I don't think that. I think we're free to fuck up anything we want at any time, and we're really good at doing that in general. I mean, capital W-E, humanity. But I felt like when I met you that, and I don't know if I've ever even told you this, but it confirmed for me my faith in what I'm doing and how important that it is. And it also it was indicative of my need for help with this, that this was not just something that I could do by myself, that I needed someone who totally gets me, totally cosmically gets me. And I found that in you. And in spite of every hardship that I have faced this year, and some have been formidable, just to have you at the other end of a text message or the phone or in a Zoom session so consistently in my life since the day we met has lifted me up at times from the depths of despair. And I am very grateful to have you in my life.
That's wonderful. We take care of each other.
We do. We do. And thank you so much. Last night I did your show. Anybody wants to see it can look up Galactic Wisdom for yesterday's date on KGRA or wherever. Yeah. And remember at the end, Lenny, when there was a package for me, and he said it will be proof. It will be proof. Okay. So, and then he sends me a picture of the package sitting out in the carport.
That was funny.
Steps. And I'm thinking, what? And he's proof of what? Proof of life? Proof of what? And we had been talking about when we did, was it the World Peace Manifestation? Was it that you asked the question, what would you want for Christmas?
Yeah. So it's like, I think Monday, I ordered a gift for Andrea. I thought about it hard. What gift would Andrea like? And I sent it to her. And then on Wednesday evening, I asked in a Zoom meeting with Andrea, I asked everybody, if I were to give you $1,000, which I'm not going to do, but if I were to give you $1,000, what one gift would you ask for? And what did you say, Andrea?
I said, I prefaced it, I believe, with some remarks regarding the Princess Peanut Butter Cup and her need for toys. And I have often posted, Lenny knows, she puts them on Peanut's Facebook page, of her, like with their little head popping out of about, 50 toys. And you have to find the puppy, pursue the puppy, find the puppy in the mound of toys. And then inevitably, when we put something like that up, some smart ass comes on and says, you have a spoiled brat dog. And I immediately take great offense and say, well, that's not possible, you see, because there are countless billions of dog toys in the world, and my dog only has several hundred of them. And so what I would like for Christmas from Santa would be a really wonderful, unique new dog toy for the Princess Peanut Butter Cup. And that's exactly what was in the box.
Good job,
That's
Rupert.
great.
I got you nothing.
Yeah.
Where is it? I'll find it. No, hold on. I'll get it. Talk amongst yourselves.
You can't go find it.
No, I find it. I know where it is. I know where it is.
Yeah.
Granny's chair
Yeah,
or near
I
it,
was
probably.
not good at the Christmas mailing this year. So
It's difficult with the postal service. You can't track it. UPS is backed up. Like, it's just hard to get stuff places on time this year, you know? Oh, it's so cute.
This is a rocket ship, and there are little creatures inside it.
Adorable.
And the doggies
That's adorable.
have been trying to figure out how to get the little and they don't come out, which is the most torturous toy, but also beloved, because it's impossible to get all of them out. They're in there. They're like stuck in there. And if you bite hard enough through the rocket ship, they squeak.
Oh, here comes the brigade.
Here come
You
the
knew
dogs.
that was coming.
What a metaphor for life that dog toy is.
Right?
Okay, who wants the toy? There we go.
Even Maisie had her
Those
ears perked up.
little green beings are
One
supposed to
squeak.
come out of the rocket. They don't come out at all.
They do.
They do. Okay. Yeah.
They do come out of the
Yeah.
rocket.
All the pictures where from Amazon, they
They'll figure it
Probably got
out.
the
They have
plastic thing still in the bottom.
Yeah.
Just connected
Oh.
to
Probably
it.
gonna flip it out.
yeah,
Mhm.
but they should come out.
Okay. I'll work on that after the show.
Then it'll be a whole new toy.
I know, and then it will be a whole new toy, and in so many pieces that everyone will get a piece. That'd be just great. Okay, Lynn and Jeff, we've had some adventures this year. We have.
Quite a few
Oh.
adventures as usual.
Oh
as
my.
usual.
Yeah.
But as Jeff says, going around in circles this year, I can totally agree with that. And going around in circles through things and moving forward from going around and around. Work's been a tough thing for me this year, and it has been around and around, and then everything gets put on hold or on wait, and you just don't know what's going to happen. So you go into work every day and you do one day at a time, and be happy and have the people that you enjoy being around at work and everything. So, and then everybody that's here, we always enjoy seeing everybody at all the events and being around everybody. And we just, always can't get enough and hate to leave when everybody goes back home from the events. So, but
that's the hard part. It is. That's the hard part. Getting together, enjoying your time together so much, and then having to say goodbye, or at least so long for now.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although,
The what?
I recall one incident where I think Erin was really glad to get rid of me.
It's okay, Aaron. I've been there too.
You have.
Ocean State was
No.
quite a trip.
Just trying to make her feel better.
I appreciate that, Lynn. we had that was a tough trip for everyone, though. I think. I mean, we had weather.
Was.
We had your house flooded again in Florida.
Yeah.
And I had Bernie's entered the picture. I had 5 bosses in one event in one day, so it was a constant pulling back and forth. But I was not happy to be rid of you by any stretch. I just hoped you were able to figure out your Uber situation as I navigated missing my flight. It's like, I don't know what else to do.
No, I know. It was about as stressful an event as we've ever done. And
crazy.
Lenny and Jeff and I had a couple of very stressful events.
Mhm.
Really stressful
Well, the
events.
travel. The travel.
I don't know. I mean, Jeff, you lecture. You travel around and you lecture and you write books, and you are, I perceive you to be very much a scholar, as much of a gentleman as a scholar. And I perceive Rupert to be the same way. He does his own thing by traveling around and touching, thousands of lives and introducing people to our galactic family. He does what I do. He just does it a little bit differently. And that blend, his scientific perspective, my very spiritual perspective on it, has blended together beautifully in the same way that what we do on Soul School has blended together beautifully. It's, I have the most remarkable, I'm looking at 3 of the most remarkable men, and I don't know if Bill is paying attention, but he should come on screen as well. Because Bill, unless you're in the restroom, you need to come on the screen so I can tell you to your face what I have to say. Right, there you are. You have enriched my life enormously. And being on KGRA, being part of this extended family that we have, and Deb and RJ, Deb DeRusse, RJ DeRusse, we were hoping could make it tonight, and they can't. But we'll have them on again soon. Because, this is a time for us to gather with our nearest and dearest, the people that we feel a real true kinship with. I think it's extraordinarily important that just by filling this screen with all this light, Rupert, I wish everybody could see your Christmas tree. It is truly a paranormal Christmas tree. It is wonderful, wonderful. Promise me you'll put a picture of it up, because I don't have, I have it, but it won't show on the screen. But
I'll email it to Bill. Maybe it'll get up before the end of the show. I don't know.
You can do you can do that. I will say,
do that kind of stuff. I can't.
I think he's trying to make me blush and almost get emotional on camera by saying stuff like that, because I'm very humble. But I appreciate being in the company. Remember, August 26th, I didn't think I was even going to be here for Christmas.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
It could have been done and over.
I'm so glad you're here.
So, and thanks to all of you. I can't say enough. Lynn saved the day yesterday, doing everything that we do for the stream. Knowing Jeff and Jeff's words, what he says, I take that to heart. It's inspiring to me.
Yeah, me
because
too.
I can relate a lot to what he says, and of course you, Annie, and Erin, always being there. Like when we were doing Ken DaCosta, George Lopez show, and we were at the Shanley Hotel, and it was like on the other end, and it was so cool to have you there because you knew what it was like to deal with Cody and Satori, and it was like, it was so awesome.
Oh my God!
Yeah, oh my God! You're just a great person as well. I love all of you, and Rupert. Last but definitely not least, welcome to the KGRA family. You're sending out a great positive message again to everyone. I can't say enough of having all of you part of the network. And Rupert, I got the photo. I see it. So I want to share something to all the viewers that somebody made for me last night. It's a little season's greeting thing because, I'm all about the UFO stuff. And I will be on Rupert's
We would
show.
never have guessed.
Never, right?
Never.
I will be on Rupert's show in the near-term future.
Good.
Here's a little something.
I love it. That's great.
They don't look like that.
So again, love to all of you. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. We will be live next week, right?
We are. We are going to be live. I'm not sure quite what we're going to do.
I hope 2024 is a good year. That's all I'll say. I'm a little pessimistic about what can happen in 2024, but we'll talk about that next week. And to all the viewers and listeners that are watching, blessings to you. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. Great to be part of this galactic family, because that's what we all are. And the one thing I got to say, when I look at the comments and I see the interaction, this is 100% positive. Mm-hmm. You don't see what you would normally see on other streams. Sometimes you get those, I would say the negativity coming in. Not here. That shows you the love and support and how important it is for all of you to in their lives. So to me, that's very significant, because I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of people that are out there and they're alone.
Yes.
And they tune in and, they're part of this family. And I think that's so important, especially, in these times, this time of year, people have a little down period too. So again, love to all of you. And I'm looking forward to working and being with all of you in 2024.
I'm so looking forward to 2023 being over. Every single New Year's Eve, I sit my ass down on the sofa and I watch the ball drop in Times Square by myself, or, well, never by myself. I always have critters with me, but this is going to be a year that and so many wonderful things have happened, but I'll be glad to see it go. I will. And I know that we're going into 2024. I've talked about this a number of times on the shows, and I want everybody's opinion about this. Erin, we talked about this. When I was a child, a little kid, for some reason, 2024 was a year that stuck in my head, that I thought about. I never understood why it was such a pivotal time. I thought when I was very young that I would be really old when 2024 rolled around, and that maybe that year was sticking in my head because that would be the year that I died. And now I'm looking at it as a very spry 65-year-old and going, this is the year that I start to live, that I really live into my purpose, that I, walk right into my destiny, and that this is just a whole new beginning, and processing everything that has happened in 2023 has been extremely time-consuming, exhaustive effort made to come to grips with everything that this year threw my way, and especially my mom. It's just been a very difficult year. I've been in Georgia a little more than a year now, almost full-time exclusively, except for the move after the flood in what a movie Splash, where the professor says, what a week I'm having. Well, what a year I'm having. But I look back on it, and I want everybody else to pipe in about this too. I'm looking back on it now as we're coming into Christmas, and something that truly does feel very sacred and holy to me, whether it's just my own habitual human response to this holiday, or my conditioning as a Catholic when I was a kid, or whatever. I have a very strong feeling and sentimentality, and am very nostalgic, and I love Christmas, and I love everything about it, and all the pretty colors and the lights and the kindness and gestures between people that normally throughout the rest of the year don't happen for whatever reason. But this is the time of year where everybody's a little extra nice and tries a little extra hard to be conscientious. And
why can't it be like that all the time?
And why can't it be?
Right?
Because what a difference it would make in the world. If that's the one message that comes out of the show tonight, it's what Dickens wrote, to keep Christmas in your heart year round. And that's, I don't think, speaking to, the worship of a deity. I think it's a mindset.
Yeah.
To be kind and good and pure of heart and lift the spirits of everyone that you encounter and take every opportunity. And more importantly, reset your mind so that you recognize every opportunity to do good in the world and to help someone else.
Before I leave, because I'll let you guys continue what you guys are doing here, great thing. I will say, when I had my incident in August, I think I have been given another opportunity because my role, whatever it is not completed. So I have purpose. You know what I mean? And then a person came in, a chaplain came in. He says, I'm not here to read you like you're going to be passing away. But he said, you know something? Because I told him I thought I was going to die. And then he says, well, you know what? You're here not because you have a guardian angel, but because you can be a guardian angel for someone else out there. And that hit me because, maybe my role is to affect someone's life in such a positive way. Or whatever I do, like with KJR or whatever it is. But to do something in a positive way that affects other people, like what all of you do, all of you. It's doing something out there. You're touching other people. And if you touch those people in a positive way, that's what it's all about to me. Even if it's just one. Because you can change someone's mindset from really a negative place, and I mean a very negative place, a dark place, and then lift them up to a brighter place where now maybe some negative thoughts are no longer going on in the head, and they feel more optimism and being part of something. And not alone,
and let them feel hope again.
Exactly.
Give them hope back. I think that's the greatest gift.
The message is love.
Each other.
Totally agree with you on that, Bill. Because the first time I had mine experience, they told me to go back because I wasn't done here.
Look at that.
The second time I had my experience, they said I had done what I needed to do, and it was my choice. And I feel I came back because I didn't feel I was really done yet.
Plus, you drive around.
Yeah.
the love that you have, the love you have for your family and all those people that you have that bond with. It's hard to let that go and go to someplace else that may be better for yourself. But for the whole. Because I'm going to tell you that was the thought I was in my head. If I die here, I never got to say goodbye to my mom, to the people and then there's going to be that doubt, like what happened? All the rumors will be starting, I can only imagine what it would be like after. But it's just great to be here part of with all of you and be here to enjoy this moment. So without any further ado, I am bailing out. But again, love to everybody watching, listening, and to all of you. And Rupert, I'm going to grab that now. All right. See you guys. Thank you.
All right. Let me know when it's up. Put it up on the screen as soon as you can because it's just great.
All right. Bye.
Having a paranormal Christmas. I think that's marvelous. When you look at it, it's the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. There's ghosts, there's spirits. There's ghost stories around Christmas time. A lot of people get into it, totally get into it. Not so much with our galactic family. I often wonder if they have traditions and celebrations and rituals and, the things that we do that make us feel so uniquely human. I mean, you don't see bison gathering around, roasting marshmallows and telling stories. Look at this.
Oh,
that is my Christmas. That is my Christmas alien nest.
I love it. That's super cute.
I didn't quite have enough lights to finish it, but I will get some sometime soon and finish the job off.
That's really cute. I love it.
All of the, us normal people. I have our tray. Jeff's got his. Jeff and Lenny have theirs.
Yeah.
What are those
normal.
things? Where's yours, Erin? In the corner?
It's behind the screen. Yeah. Oh, here. The best thing about not having a stationary camera, it's little, but it's sitting on our little Victrola.
Oh, that's so nice. That's up above Bernie territory is what that is.
Bingo. Yep.
Well, we've had Mama Kitty forever. And, just last night or the night before, she decided for the first time ever that she was going to climb the Christmas tree. And went up right through the center of it like a lizard. She just slithered up the tree. And all of a sudden I see Christine going, no. And she reaches in with both hands up to the elbow and comes out with a cat hanging just with its torso and its feet dangling. And like, no, this can't happen. Why is this happening? And then it occurred to me that the reason that it was is because every other year of her life, there's been Bonnie Blue Eyes, Bon, and her daughter Spooky Shoes. And they both passed away this year. And so this was the first Christmas that Mama Kits had the house all to herself and could misbehave at will without having to encounter the other two cats that were not very fond of her. Actually, rather kind of possessive of the tree and stuff and wouldn't let her anywhere near it. And now she has access. So great. Here we go with that. But I think she got the message. What are you doing with Maisie? What is she? I mean.
Okay, you know what happened? I'll tell you exactly what happened. One of the owls you've given me in the past fell off the Christmas tree.
Yes.
And I didn't see it, and I thought she was trying to get me to play. She likes to play with 2-liter pop bottles. Thought she was trying to get me to throw it, and it was because the owl was on the floor, and she didn't stop until I went and picked it up.
Maisie, that's a Christmas ornament, honey.
No, she wanted me to know it was on the floor.
Oh.
She was upset because it was on the floor, and I wasn't picking it up because I couldn't see it.
You do realize that dog's got a brain about the size of a walnut, right?
With a touch of the tism. Girl's got a touch of the tism, and we love her so much.
Yes.
But
she's so great. She's great.
And having a touch of the tism fits right into this household.
Of course it does.
As you see, my ADHD is in full force tonight.
At least you salvaged the owl. That owl, had Peanut been a hold of it, would be in 6 pieces by now. So there's that. Maisie
saved it.
Rupert, did you ever have a dog? Have you ever had a dog in your life that you adored?
Absolutely. When I was a kid, Gemma was a beautiful tricolor cardigan corgi and just brought so much joy to my life. She passed away a long time ago, over 20 years, but she still visits me.
Does she?
And at a convention, actually, a paranormal convention that I went to this year, I was sitting next to a medium, and she turned to me and she said, "Did you used to have a dog? Because there's this little dog that keeps running backwards and forwards, up to you and away from you and up and down this aisle." And I said, yeah, it's a small tricolor dog. And she said, yeah. And I said, it was a cardigan corgi. And she said, oh, maybe not, because it has a tail. And I said, no, cardigan corgis, they're the ones that have tails. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So that was validation.
Yeah.
Right.
Gemma comes and visits me in my sleep. Sometimes she just it's just such a wonderful, loving feeling, just letting me know everything's all right. And she's still with me. And I look forward to the day when I transition to the next world and I can play with her again. And I hope they have spirit tennis balls. But,
I imagine they do.
yeah, I'm looking forward to that day.
Yeah.
Do you want another dog, or is your life too? I mean, you've got a little bit of vagabond in you. You travel a great deal. Is that something that, for a companion, that you would like to have with you? Or is it more a consideration of, oh my God, when I can't take the dog, what do I do?
That's what it is. I mean, on my property here, there's no fences, and I'm on a mountain, and I had 50 elk in my yard just a couple of days ago. There were bobcats around, deer, squirrels, all manner of different animals here, and they already know that they can feel my energy. They come in and they just feel safe here, and I would love to have like a sanctuary area where I could take any species of animal that is in need, from pigs to dogs to I don't know, Bigfoot. Anything would be good. But as I do travel, I travel around the country. This year I've traveled I've done alien contact events probably in about 15 states. The year before it was 25. 20 in the coming year, I wouldn't mind doing every single state in the US, and it would not be fair on any animal to leave them unattended for that amount of time, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I take Peanut with me everywhere I can. In fact, when I met Erin about 2 and maybe 2.5 years ago, 2 years, a little more, 2 years ago in September, I was out with my father, and Peanut was going to go for a walk at the resort that we were at in St. Augustine, Florida. And when I walked out the door, I just handed the leash to my father and made him take her across over to under the palm trees there, Dad. And I turned and I looked at her, and I sat down next to her on the bench, and she was sitting there all by herself. And we struck up a conversation immediately. I don't know which spoke first, but she had no idea who I was. Kind of like you, Rupert. Like, not a clue. Who is this lady? Didn't know that I was on the roster. Didn't know I was a speaker. Didn't know about the movie. Never saw the movie. Never read the books. Knew nothing. And I looked in her eyes and I said, "You're connected to the Arcturians." And she said, "I've been told that before." And that was it. That was the beginning of our conversation. And I mean, before that day was out, I knew that she was going to be a part of my life, a part of my family. And it was the same way when I met Lynn. Lynn, how many years ago now?
It was 10. Oh, yeah. Maybe 11 now. On Narini's show, on Noreen Stampovich's, your very first interview.
Yeah.
I was. I always watched her show, and Donna, was that her partner? She had a partner then.
I don't remember.
Yep. And something just spoke to me and said, "You are supposed to help her." Didn't know what it meant, and here I am. That's right. That was all it was.
Well, I'm just glad that it was, back in the day when I was just figuring out how to use Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Like.
Yeah, we've come a long way, people. You have no idea.
And I get this your message as I know that I need to know you, and I'm supposed to know you, and I mean, I read it.
Out of thousands that you get, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. And I answered it right away. Right away. and we started talking on the phone, and shortly thereafter we met in person, and
O'Mara's was our first meeting.
I know, with Mr. Tenny.
Yes, with Mr. Tenny.
Yeah, we've had some good times with Tenny.
Oh my gosh.
Huh?
Yes.
Remember the night I accidentally drank his vodka?
Oh my goodness. Y'all don't know what Andrea is like when she's been drinking. You think, that was enjoyable.
The face I made.
Yeah.
Oh God!
And there's lots of people in chat that have attended O'Mara's in the past. So, you know.
Oh, I know. We packed the place every single time we appeared there together. Every single time we packed it, standing room only.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's great.
I'm gonna have to post some throwback clips from O'Mara's. I've got a few gems.
No, don't.
Oh yeah.
Lynn's like, challenge accepted.
Yeah, because she's going to do exactly the opposite of what I just told her not to. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay.
I would never.
Well, Rupert, you need to know that, I don't know if you're a big fan of Saturday Night Live or not, but years and years ago, Steve Martin and, who is it? The two wild and crazy guys.
Oh.
Dan Aykroyd and
Dan Aykroyd. Very good. You're almost American if that just came to you like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a wild and crazy community. A very, very eclectic community. Wouldn't you say, Jeff? It's just salt and peppered with such a wide variety of personalities. Mm-hmm. And yet it's really remarkably amazing how everybody gets along so well and loves each other. And I'm a cheerleader and head lobbyist to get Rupert to some of these events that we do together every year, but particularly Upper Peninsula, Michigan Paracon, particularly that one. It is mind-boggling. I mean, you walk in there into a wall of love. It's amazing how many people come together, usually about 1,500. We average around that, of people that are fascinated. And Jeff Turner, have you been to, you have not?
You're muted there, Jeff.
You're muted.
There we go. Does that help? Yeah.
Hear me now.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. No, I have not. I'd like to, but I have not. No.
Okay, well, it's not that far from you. You could drive it technically.
Yeah, it's about 3.5 hours from us. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, we have to make those arrangements, and for Rupert, and I want Erin to come. I want all of us to gather there. I want Ken DaCosta to come. He's never been. Bad. Ken has not been.
I don't think Ken's been to that event.
No, no, he hasn't. Oh, and by the way, I believe all of you are familiar with our friends Cody and Satori. Yes. And today, they announced their engagement. And so I want to raise a glass to Cody and Satori, to their pending nuptials and a long, long, happy life together. Here's to Cody and Satori.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
I have been sitting on that information for a week. I've been sitting on that information for a week. I've seen the ring. I was so excited to finally see that video come out last night. And I'm just so happy for them, because those two have also been through the ringer this year.
Yeah.
And have offered a master class to the rest of us on handling adversity in the world of the internet with grace and kindness. and cool heads. So this was a fantastic way for them to end the year. So
yes. Yeah. And we celebrate them. We celebrate their union. We celebrate their gifts. We celebrate who they are as individuals. You know, I was talking with Rupert last night on his show about people, you know, good people. And when good people come together, we can work magic. We can work wonders. How, you know, we live in a world where there's a great deal of destruction and pain and mayhem and chaos and sadness and grief and loss. But when you have moments of light and love and promise and hope, it is that time that you pause and you celebrate and reflect on the beauty that is unfolding like a flower blossoming before your eyes. And that's how I see these two. They are so young and vibrant and, you know, brilliant and beautiful souls. And it just, it does my heart good because I see something that has a future and has great promise that exists between them. And they'd be a wonderful example for others their age to emulate, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Older people too. I mean, anyway.
Yeah. Anyone.
Anyway.
You got an issue with your husband, Lenny? You got an issue? Mom,
Him? Nah.
yeah. Jeff Bowling, did you finish that damn boat before?
That'll never.
No.
But I've been doing a lot of work on it. So, hey, when you're going to go to the big water, as I call it, because we live surrounded by an inland sea, you want to make sure your boat's right before you get it wet.
Great. Mildly important. No big deal.
Annie.
Patch those holes up.
Well, the one thing I would say to all of you is if we could all get to the UP for the conference like that, we could have a couple extra days. I would love to take you to the big lake and
Superior?
watch the sun go down and let you see the stars over the big lake.
Oh,
If you
I'd
want
love
to
to
see,
see
if you want to see things, I mean, Rupert probably sees it in the mountains out there and stuff like that. But standing on the beach looking to the north with no lights for hundreds of thousands of miles, it is just crystal clear out there, and it's just absolutely wonderful to watch. So,
Well, okay. I would also like to put Rupert on the ferry between
we gotta go to the island.
Mackinac City and Mackinac Island.
Yeah, we gotta take him to the island. Everybody's gotta go to the island.
There are no cars on this island. It's like stepping back in time. If you don't do a horse cart, then you use a bicycle or you walk.
And a snowmobile in the winter.
That's right. That's right. And that's
They've
right
got
on
the
Lake
snowmobiles
Huron.
out. They've got the snowmobiles out right now.
Yeah. So I got to tell you, you know what sapsuckers we all are and how we're all so sentimental in this family. And a couple of weeks ago, I was helping Christine build something in the carport. And she's got power tools everywhere. And she's just building a new cover for the well house. And so I was helping her by basically sitting on the wood so that it wouldn't move when she put the screws in. That was my job. Just take your fat ass and put it right here and nothing will move and I'll put the screws in. She had the radio on and, actual transistor radio outside. And it started playing Gordon Lightfoot, who has sadly passed away. It was... and is it the big lake they call Gitchigumi?
Yep.
The wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, which happened in 1975. I remember seeing it on the news and being so mortified that so many men went down in that shipwreck. But Is that the lake that you're talking about, Jeff? Lake Superior?
Yes, it
And
is.
Jeff Turner, you live on Lake Huron, right?
Me?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
That Jeff.
that
Yep.
Jeff. But Jeff Bowling,
Yeah, we
you
got
want
that.
to go to Superior, where
Yes.
where the wreck is, the wreckage.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
That's creepy.
It could be like floating over.
Yeah, Candace said we need to get a freighter because Jeff just invited the world. Need a bigger boat.
Yeah, but wasn't the Edmund Fitzgerald a freighter? I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
Wasn't it the biggest at the time?
On the big lake they call Gitchagumi.
Yep. It was
I'm not going. I'm not getting in the friggin' boat, and I'm not doing that. I will wait from the shore.
Away from the shore.
We will wait from the shore. We will warm up the hot chocolate. We will. When you come back to shore,
snacks ready.
yeah, we'll have the food ready. All the snackage will be prepared.
Yep.
Yeah, no, but I will take the ferry over to Mackinac Island. Rupert,
Yes.
you have to really get to. There's something about Michigan. There's just, I don't know what it is about Michigan. Jeff, how did I meet you? Somebody turned me on to you, right?
Me, Jeff.
No.
Yes. Or
Jeff Turner.
Jeff Turner. Okay.
JT.
Yeah. How did that happen?
Introductions at Houghton Lake, wasn't it?
Wasn't it?
Well, that
No.
was where we met. That was where we met in person. But I had you on my podcast
Okay.
for and I think that was our first meeting. I kind of just reached out to. I felt the nudge to do so, and it was like I've always internally been incredibly fascinated by this field, and it informs a lot of my philosophy and theology and such. But in terms of what I did on my podcast, I'm typically talking religious deconstruction, Derridian deconstruction, and things of that nature. But I was like, you know what? Why don't we just crack this sucker open and talk about something a bit more interesting? So I reached out to you. I felt to do so, and I was like, there's absolutely no way she'll get back to me. I mean, why would she? She doesn't know me from Adam. And you did, like a few weeks later, and you said you had a load of emails, and that was the only one that you had opened, and you were like, yes, I'll do it. And we had a great conversation. And then from there, I don't know. We just kept in contact. And we met in Houghton Lake. And you talked to Deb and had me brought on there. And I think with much cajoling, because when I spoke with, was it Mike Smith?
Yes. Mike Smith. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. When I walked up.
Another awesome man.
Yeah. Awesome dude. But he was like, before I spoke, he was like, oh, so you're the preacher guy, huh? And I'm like, I guess so. And I guess you can call me that. And he was like, yeah, when they first told me about you, I was a little concerned, but Andrea insisted, so we do what she says, basically. So I was like, okay, well, I hope
He's
I don't disappoint him. But it's, that was it, I think. That was where we met. And at that first UFO contact that I spoke at, that's where we had our conversation in the restaurant, and Soul School was born.
I remember the dinner.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
We were looking at that beautiful lake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those moments. So many synchronicities and convergences occurred there. And when you asked me, I just was like, yep, let's do it. I knew instantaneously that it was meant to be. So,
yeah, it was. Well, Rupert went this past September. And I was so delighted that he could come. And Rupert, what are your memories? What are your experiences around that? How do you think, or if it changed you or informed you or helped you in some way spiritually grow in your own journey by being at Houghton Lake? I hope that it did.
Well, the crowd of people that you drew together, both evenings we were there, was astonishing. And one of those evenings you were feeling a little under the weather, and I volunteered to start the proceedings until you arrived. And I got out there and I put everybody in a circle. And it's like, this is a big circle. of people. This is a big family of loving people all gathered here because of you to reach out to other beings that are out there. And of course, when you arrived and you started doing your thing, there was a big gasp soon after you stopped talking as the sky lit up with this enormous meteorite, or maybe it wasn't. Anything can move fast enough through the atmosphere. You can ionize the gas and cause that kind of streak. But then on my night vision camera, I did capture something moving steadily over the lake like this. And as soon as it realized it was being videoed, it just dropped vertically straight down, accelerated down into the lake. Got that on video. That was kind of cool. And of course, I had to be careful not to get the my expensive equipment too close to you, because when I did,
I'm telling you, it's awful. She's killed a bunch of my stuff.
Yeah.
Don't let her near it.
I have just bought a new thermal imaging camera, and no, she's not ever going to touch that.
Just keep it in the car, Rupert. Don't get it anywhere near her energetic field whatsoever. Sorry, Annie.
Yeah.
It's true.
Don't make any internet connections even. She's busted my online.
Lights, the whole nine.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't understand why. I don't.
Your magnetic personality.
It's so weird. I mean, I can even be standing near a camera and drain the battery within 10 or 15 minutes, from a brand new battery to dead in 10 or 15 minutes. I did accidentally touch Rupert's camera just very briefly to hand it to him because it was sitting in the chair. I handed it to him and I think it was okay, but I really slammed it in Kansas City. But you're the one that put it in my hands and let me look at all the beautiful vessels. And plus we saw Starlink that night. I mean, that was wild. That was just, talk about a confluence of events. And then I killed it. As soon as I handed it back to him, it was like pretty much.
Yeah. Well, you drained the battery, but it's still fully functional, so that's okay.
Well, that's what I meant. I didn't kill the camera. I killed the battery. Yeah. No, but I killed Lenny's whole devices. Like they no longer work and she has to get another one.
2 tablets, and luckily my husband's smart and gets insurance now. After the first one, he's like, oh yeah, you too. And yeah.
The farm does that too, though. I mean, I'll be on my laptop sitting in the camper and it's plugged in and the battery's draining. I'm like, well, that math doesn't work. And then, you can't focus your phone. And then, you had 100%. And now you've got 43% in like 4 minutes. You just walked from one end of any of that energy, it just blows everything out. It's pretty wild to see. So always have extra chargers. Always.
Yeah. Ken had some experiences too at the farm with a great deal of technical interference, which anybody that does research understands or works around the notion of spirits knows that a lot of the communication that occurs, it's transferred electrically. Electronics break down, but also it's the sucking of the electricity out of things that causes them to give them the energy to manifest in form. At least that's my concept, my theory of part of what they do. Because when we lived at the farm when we were kids, there were many months that we lived there that our electric bill was higher than the mortgage. And then there would be a major manifestation in the house. And then the electric bill would plummet down to like nothing. $10, $12 a month to light a house that large. But back, that was back in the early 70s. But the mortgage was $240 a month. And there were times that the electric bill was higher than that.
Oh yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I saw that in the movie.
Yeah, because you don't know anything else about this story except The Conjuring, right? Oh God. Well, we have. Are you looking at how's our chat room doing tonight?
Oh, it's
Is there
great.
anybody
Everything's
out there.
Hi, everybody in chat. I'm watching y'all. Trying.
Okay, well, because if anybody has any questions for anybody that's on the screen, this is the time of we're all together.
Well, we have to. Yes, we are having fun, and we always have fun in chat. But I personally would like to, just again say, I'm so thankful Candace is in chat and watching the show with us tonight, and
Yes.
on the road to recovery, because we could not do without Candace in this field.
Yeah.
Sorry. We could not do without Candace, period, just in general.
Yes, in general.
So I'm glad she's on the mend. Super thankful Bill's on the mend.
Mm-hmm.
Super thankful you are on the mend. I don't think anybody knows.
And we're super thankful that the wife is on the mend too, because she is definitely. Yeah, she's gonna get. Yeah, but we're thankful. So.
Yeah. It's all good. Well, Greta's been under the weather. I was going to invite our dear Greta.
I talked to Greta right before the show.
Yeah.
She knows that you welcomed her, but she could use some energy and healing her way. She's having it's painful, the things that are happening with her. So it's it would be hard to be on camera right now. But she did, send her thoughts and her love, and said I'd pass them on.
Okay, well, all you energy healers,
yes,
get on
please
it.
send some Greta's way.
Yeah, and Tuk
Will do.
Speak with Tuk about paying her a visit. I don't know what the protocol is for that and what's considered. Like Erin, when you do a protocol, you say, I can send it. I can send the energy, hold space for that person or with grace for that person.
I do it because I'm really big on permission. Normally, I was taught that way, but I feel like in certain circumstances where either someone can't give permission for them, there's under the law of grace is really the only way you should send it without permission. I very seldomly use that, but I will in certain situations. But it's rare. But that kind of covers you for, permission's sake. They call it the law of grace. So that's what I'll send it under. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Permission's important where you can get it, but.
And I will speak with Hudel, and Rupert will speak with his divine emissary. I don't know. Do you consider Tuk to be a divine being, or is that an inappropriate word to use for her?
I don't know. Jeff, what does divine mean? Jeff Turner.
Yeah, that's a loaded question as well.
We got 2 hours. Well, we got it's 10:10. That's my birthday. 10:10. It's 10:10.
Yeah. Well, I think that can be sometimes where the category error is made by some of my dear atheist friends who what they reject isn't really God. God is more, to use Paul Tillich's language, God is considered to be the ground of being, right? The that which being itself is grounded in, but within that ground, there's a panoply of beings, right? Of intelligences, and it's one consciousness. It's one light streaming through a stained glass window, and various shafts of lights of all different hues and colors. But were you to shatter that window, you would find one light behind it all. And so while I personally am still beholden to the Christian tradition in many ways, I definitely push the I push the limits of orthodoxy in how I practice it. However, I do believe that all being is a manifestation of one being. So I think there's the ground of being, and then within that being, there are many other sorts of beings and intelligences of higher and lower densities. I don't necessarily like that language just because of how it can be abused and manipulated. I've seen it done that way, but I still think it's the truth. So the divine, I think, is everything to a greater or lesser degree, because I think all that there is divinity, right, being streamed to us. It's filtered, and that's what the Kabbalistic tree of life is really all about. It's the way the divine filters itself into reality. So I think everything is divine on some level. Really, I think if it isn't divine, it doesn't exist.
Okay.
And there can be aberrations. So even the Kabbalistic tree of life, where you have the Sephirot, there's also a reversal, right? And the name is eluding me at the moment, but there's a sort of reverse tree of life in Lurianic Kabbalah, and that's where that's what the demonic is considered to be. But even that is still, on some level, it's a reversal of the divine. So where they're not the divine, there could not be the reversal. So in some way, everything is divine. Jesus, he told the parable of the sower and the seed, and he even speaks about the birds of the air, which in this parable are considered to be, maybe, let's say, unclean spirits, which isn't how I see reality, but that's the language he's using. But even those birds of the air that are considered to be aberrant spirits, let's say, still partake of the seed that the sower, which is the divine, sows. So in some way, everything subsists on the divine. So everything is divine in some way, I think, if that makes sense.
Well, thank you, Jeff. In that case, the three healing, non-human healing entities that I interact with are all divine. Tuk is an extraterrestrial on a distant world. She lives in a very unusual place at the interface in an ocean between two immiscible liquids of different densities. And she never travels to us physically, but we astrally project to her. She astrally projects to us, and she gives healing to people because she likes helping people, like all of you guys. There is an Arcturian. Well, I know three Arcturians quite well. One of them in particular, Sashki, she is a healing. She likes to heal. It's not her focus, but she does like to heal, and she gets the assistance of Rimioid and Helmiad to help her with that. It's wonderful, Erin, if you're part Arcturian or if you have a connection there, we'll have to talk sometime about that.
Yes, we'd love that.
We also have a reptilian who comes to us and has done healing for us at our in-person events. Reptilians often get a bad name, that they have a bad name, I think, in general. People often frown upon them. I think a lot of that is based in lookism, because they look scary. They look like velociraptors. And when they just kind of show up next to you, people are like this. But we reached out to them in peace. We've held a few events in Las Vegas where there's quite a lot of them, called Reptilians Invited. We reached out to them in friendship and asked for them to come and introduce themselves to us. And ever since then, they've come to our events to protect us. And there is a reptilian called Icod, who has given somebody quite profound healing at one of our events recently. And that reptilian is still around and does that from time to time.
That's awesome.
That's interesting that there's such an aversion to the concept of the reptilian, and I wonder how much of that is even rooted in theology to some degree, because we tend to in the West anyways associate anything serpentine or reptilian, cold-blooded, with evil. And that goes back to the Garden of Eden, which is the foundational Western story, essentially. So it's in there. It's in our minds. And, we have this notion that the serpent in the garden is Satan. But that's absolutely an anachronism, because the concept of Hasatan as we know it today didn't exist at the time that the Genesis account of creation, or that one of the two Genesis accounts of creation, was actually probably written down and codified. Actually, it's a takeoff of other Mesopotamian myths in which there's always a serpent in the garden, And it represents that Ouroboros serpent, which is always present at the beginning of creation in some way. And the difference between the difference in the biblical myth of creation is that the serpent it's not cyclical in this sense. It's free, and it kind of represents differentiated consciousness, which is sort of what the Genesis kind of creation is all about. Anyways, that's just me blabbing. But I find that very interesting that
you don't even blab, Jeff.
Right. Right.
Because
Jeff always says profound stuff. He's like, sorry, I'm off today. It's like, what? You just changed my whole perspective on these 10 things in 4 seconds. You're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, he's off.
Well done, sir.
Isn't that an interesting it's an interesting metaphor, though, because you say the reptilian, archetype, or however one perceives it, even if one only perceives it in archetypal terms, let's say, just to be, to make it easy for everyone to digest, the reptilian, the people have a strong aversion to it. And yet you're saying you experienced it as something healing. And the interesting thing is that there's a story in the book of Exodus where the children of Israel, they exit Egypt and they're wandering in the desert and they're all bitten by serpents. And the way that God prescribes healing is for them to take a bronze serpent, the word nahash, which is supposed to signify the sound a serpent makes, and put this bronze serpent on a pole, and everyone who looks at it is healed, right? And then interestingly enough, Jesus in the New Testament says, just as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness and whoever looked upon it was healed, so I will be lifted up, And so so the serpent image, the reptilian image, is a healing image in the Old Testament. And then even in the New Testament, Jesus compares himself to that same image. So I love the redemptive aspect of that, right? Where we have cursed so many different parts of creation through our biases, and there's so much that we can't receive from, and even just some wisdom coming through there in a spiritual sense would be, don't negate the serpentine in your life. Don't negate the things in your life that appear quote unquote reptilian to you. The dark, don't negate those things. Don't set them aside, because oftentimes that's exactly where you will find healing. If you've been bitten by a serpent in the wilderness, the last thing you think is going to bring you healing is the sign of a serpent and looking upon it for healing, right? I mean, that's the last thing you would think would bring you healing. But there are often friends that appear as foes. And when you, because you said earlier, Andrea, and just get out the cane and yank me off the stage if I'm too long-winded, Andrea.
You're good.
But you had said earlier that 2024 was a year that always stuck out to you, going way back even.
And I don't know why. Yeah.
And as you said it, Luke 24 came to my mind, and I was just kind of browsing through it as you were talking. And in Luke 24, we have the story of Jesus. And if biblical language offends anyone, please forgive me. I approach the text more metaphorically and symbolically, and not as a fundamentalist.
Now, if they're watching this show, they are totally chill with this.
Yeah, no, I understand. I always just throw that caveat out there because, actually, my audience is probably more offended by my use of scripture than your audience is, ironically enough. But because I deal with a lot of disgruntled ex-Christians. God bless them.
Yes.
Anyways, so in Luke 24, this is Jesus post-resurrection. He's risen from the dead 3 days later, as he said he would. And there are two disciples of his, one of them named, the other not named, Cleopas, which means sent. And they're on the road from Jerusalem to Emmaus, Jerusalem to Emmaus, which is the exact same length as the road from Rome to Alba Longa, which appears in Livy's History of Rome, which is a great correlate. But they're on this road, they're traveling, and they're talking with one another about the fact that they're so disappointed that what Jesus said would happen didn't happen. That, well, we thought he would be our redemption. We thought he would rise from the dead, but apparently we were wrong, and we hitched our wagon to the wrong train. Too bad, so sad. And then a stranger appears and begins to talk with them and speak with them, and it's Jesus, and he's in disguise. And this is a literary trope. You see it in the Bacchae, you see it in other places, and Jesus appears with them and he begins to speak with them. Hey guys, why the long faces? And they begin to explain to him why the long faces. And they say, well, it's because Jesus, we said he was going to rise from the dead, didn't rise from the dead. And he's like, oh, that's interesting. And he begins to basically show them how their understanding of what was going to happen was incorrect. And anyways, they come to the place where they're going to lodge for the night. and they still don't know who it is. It's a stranger to them. And he goes to break bread. And when he breaks bread, their eyes open. They realize it's Jesus the Christ. And then he disappears upon their realization of who he is. And when he disappears, they remark to one another, did not our hearts burn within us when he spoke with us on the road and opened the scriptures to us? And so there's this moment of divine disappearance, but in the moment of divine disappearance, there is a divine appearance within the heart, right? The external vanishes, and then what appears is this burning in the heart where they say, oh, wow. And the emphasis is, I don't want you looking for me out here in this external person you're looking for me in. I'm found, and specifically in this context, I'm found in your coming together. Don't look for me as an external thing that you connect with. Look for me in your communion with one another. And so in some way, that 24, that I felt like that is some kind of emphasis, that coming together, and how your voice has the power to bring these disparate things together. And that is a manifestation of the divine. And anyways, I really felt like I wanted to tell you that earlier. That kind of came to me as just something.
Are you calling me a goddess?
In some way, yeah, you are. Hey, since we got time, and it just was 22:22, 1 hour and 22:22 when I looked up.
Yeah.
Can we just get weird tonight?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm throwing this out to all of you. Jeff, run with this too.
Okay.
We've had talks about this. It's Christmas, and we're supposed to be celebrating the birth of the baby Jesus.
Yeah.
Which we know didn't happen. Remember, you talked about the 9 months and back and the calendar, and there was nothing. Astronomers have declared 2,000 plus years ago, there was nothing in the night sky that would have been the beam of light that the wise men, the three kings, would follow across the desert to go see the baby Jesus. For me, and I only speak for myself, I am not putting this out into the world for anybody to either agree or disagree. What my intention is always for people to think about this. The only way that it makes any sense to me at all, because I believe that miracles and magic are science we don't understand yet. The only way that the birth, and the life, and the death, and the resurrection of the Jesus Christ makes any sense to me is that Jesus Christ was an extraterrestrial sent to this earth as an intervention to teach us how to love each other purely, richly, deeply, profoundly, and permanently. And for that, we killed him.
Yeah. And I mean,
talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
I want to know who's feeling this. Does this resonate? Lynn is a woman of great faith. Lynn and Jeff are churchgoers. Erin's got a whole background in Catholicism. So do I. Rupert, you are much more scientifically predisposed in terms of your thoughts about faith and all of that. And Jeff is a sworn off evangelical preacher. Wow, what a group we've got. So let's discuss this.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I love Jesus's message less. He wasn't the only one that ever spoke the words, but no one can deny the impact that he has made on humanity.
Yeah.
So what do you all think about this? I won't talk. You all talk.
I know when you talk about us killing him and things, it was a fear because of the truth. The truth of his messages, I believe, was a fear. And they did it because they didn't want to, they didn't want people to get out of line. I don't know about getting out of line, but start following him. I mean, you live.
Well, yeah, he was a threat politically, for sure.
When you lived with you have and I'm just going to use this, like Caesar and the pharaohs and all the rest of them. They're trying to control and make sure that everybody is doing whatever, and that fear of somebody bringing that power into for everybody to start thinking and feeling with your heart and all that kind of stuff. It just, it was a big, I consider it a big fear, and that's why they did what they did.
Well, and the practice of the Jesus message certainly was one of the downfalls of the Roman Empire. You know, as it was practiced, as it sort of seeded itself into the empire, it did result in its implosion, in its coming down from the inside. So absolutely. And Andrea, I'll say my piece and then I'll let everybody else talk. But concerning that, and I know I've said this before, quoting the late, great, infamous Terence McKenna, that Jesus, he often said that in his mind, Jesus was a UFO. And what he meant by that was that it seems like, and he had this crazy theory about time dilation and times of chaos and great complexity, and how in those moments of great complexity and chaos, something would emerge that would essentially give birth to a new age and a new era. And he saw Jesus as being something like that, we were about 400 years away from us actually having the ability to travel to the moon with the application of the mathematics and technology that were there and present at the time. But instead of doing that, and imagine, because we were still nailing people to crosses, and I don't necessarily know that we were any less barbaric now than we were then, but we were a little more open about it then than we are now. But imagine had we developed the technology we have today then, but the best minds in that world were holed up in monasteries for centuries, going over dusty tomes, trying to figure out, if Jesus was of the same being and essence of the Father, is he homoousios tu patri, or what? They're trying to figure out these ephemeral, ethereal concepts instead of putting their brains to work at creating weapons of mass destruction. And so he believed Jesus was something like a manifestation of a governor that arises from the collective unconscious every time our technology exceeds our ethics, that something will happen. And he saw the intervention of, the kind of modern UFO phenomena as almost being something similar, intended to sort of get us looking elsewhere, up maybe, instead of at each other and wanting to destroy one another. And that's just a theory, but in some sense, whatever it is, he is certainly alien, and he appears as a projectile rather than a projection. Projections arise from within, and we project them outward into the heavens in Feuerbachian sense, and we see ourselves reflected back to us. But Jesus is a projectile that breaks through our projections and brings a message that blows everything, all of our philosophies, to pieces, and calls us to something different and calls us to something better, I think. And he's not the only one who had that message, but certainly in the West, at least, the voice that has been most influential. So the message is definitely alien in a metaphorical sense. What his actual origin is, I don't know. I'm much more symbolic in my approach to ancient texts than I am scientific, because I know we're dealing with people who thought more symbolically than they did scientifically. However, if it happened literally, as it's stated, then, well, who knows?
The only thing that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
It is literally, I have looked at it every conceivable way that I know how to. And it just seems to, if we are to read that text literally, then Jesus came from the stars to introduce humanity to the Christ consciousness.
Yeah. And at the very least, from the highest ideal. You know what I mean? Because I tend to think in terms of archetypes in a Jungian sense. And at the very least, he comes to us from the highest ideal, whether that's physically, spatially, up there and out there, or more symbolically, I don't know. But again, it comes into our projections as a projectile, meant to bring them down and dissolve them. And yes, then call up from within us that spirit of the Christ. In fact, the Apostle Paul said his entire mission was not to go to people and tell them they've had it wrong all their lives, but to go to people and tell them all along, even when you didn't know it, Christ in you was the thing causing you to live and move and have your being. And so, yes, Jesus, the message is awaken to who you already are, awaken to what you already are and what you've always been. Anyways.
I'm going to add a little bit of my own ideas to that. I don't have any beliefs. I know what I know, and I know what I don't know. And the answer to your question, Andrea, is I don't know. But I think it's a very valid hypothesis that you've put forwards. One thing that I find quite interesting is the notion of halos. What we've got is a glowing disc above somebody's head.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how auras look.
No, it's not. It's not how coronas look either.
Yeah.
It's different.
And halos are not, I think I'm right in saying, Jeff Turner, that halos are not just limited to a Christian belief. But if you look at if you look outside of religion, what might a glowing disc above somebody's head represent?
Right.
You know?
Right. And then the larger symbolism of the circle, which I know we've talked about before. The circle is the symbol of wholeness, right? And that's why the alchemists beat their head against whatever was in front of them, trying to figure out how to square the circle, because the circle represents the wholeness of being, right? And so, again, I'm more of, like I said, I believe I don't believe a whole lot either. I'm just open to a lot, and that tends to let a lot in. But the phenomenon of that circular manifestation in the form of halos, in the form of discs in the sky, is something that we. How do you say this? It's something that speaks to us about the call to wholeness. In fact, I always bring this up, but even the concept in Orthodox Christianity of Trinity, the Father, Son, and Spirit, we think of a triangle, but the early Christian view was a circle, because the word is perichoresis, which means to move in a circle. And so it's like the Father, Son, and Spirit are in a relationship with each other, other-centered, self-giving love, and they're moving in this circle. And it's kind of like the ceiling fan that we've all spent a lot of time staring at, I'm sure, at different points in our life, where if it's spinning at just the right speed and the light is just right, it looks just like a disc. It looks like a circle, but it may be made up of 3 or 4 blades, right? But it's because of the movement that it appears as a disc. And so Father, Son, and Spirit in early Christian terminology was a circle because there was a movement of service that was happening, and it appears then as this disc, this circle. And so it's when we break that circle. Where did we do that in American history symbolically? At Trinity Field in Los Alamos. We went into the heart of the Trinity, the heart of reality. We split the circle apart, right? By splitting the atom. And what do we have? And what do we have weeks later but a craft that crashes a few miles from that location? Again, I think symbolically, a projectile breaking into our projection symbolically, that's calling us back to the circular wholeness that we split at Trinity Field, right? And I think I think the world is full of symbols. I think the world is a story, and it's always emerging and speaking to us. And I think the modern like UFO phenomenon, that's one of the stories that it's trying to tell us. In addition to a lot of other things, scientific and otherwise. But I think on a spiritual level, that's one of the things it's calling us to. And the interesting thing is, Oppenheimer had in his mind a poem by the metaphysical poet John Donne called Batter My Heart, Three-Person to God, when he called it Trinity Field. And he said he wasn't even sure why, but that poem was in his head. And if you read the poem, it's basically a call to the divine saying, I am extremely hard of hearing and dense. So get my attention, please, in a way that will actually grab my attention. That's why it's batter my heart, three-person God, not batter me like an onion ring, but like battered, like beat down the doors of my heart, three-person to God, to get my attention. And what happens? From this arises this mandalic disc calling us back to wholeness. And now that symbol is adrift in the collective unconscious, appearing in the skies for the last 60, 70 years, calling us back to that very thing. We're here talking about it tonight. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. No matter what it actually is, none of us can pin it to a corkboard like a moth and say this is exactly what it is, but it's damn sure something, right? Because we're talking about it in 2023. And we're being called to wholeness and unity, macrocosmically, microcosmically, individually, communally, even tonight. So anyways,
we're called together here tonight.
Yes.
All of us are tonight. Now, I remember when, Linny, you had your first sighting with me. It was that orange ball.
Yep.
That beautiful disc over the
And
corn.
he didn't see it.
And Jeff turned and looked directly at it and did not see it. And it stayed with us for at least 20 minutes.
Long time.
You know,
Long
and
time.
I remember
coming back from Old Mill.
Yep, at Old Mill, on the way back from Old Mill.
Yep.
And Erin and I stepped out of the car onto the front lawn of the farmhouse, and we watched a hole get ripped in the universe. It was like something reached in and just did this and just tore the fabric of the universe open.
Wild.
And we just looked at each other like, you saw it too, right? You saw it too. It takes a lot to shock me. I had never seen anything like that. And we were standing side by side under a black sky and watched the purest white light, just like it was like ripping a piece of cloth open. And the brightest light you could even fathom was on the other side of the opaque black scrim. It was magnificent. It
Can I
was
say something about energy too?
I wanted everybody to see it. How did you react to that, Erin, that night? You told Tenny about that, I think, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I think to me, the whole being connected to the galactics beyond what was offered on television shows and what my dad would tell us about, I didn't know that you could feel a part of them as well. And so I think the more you start feeling that way, and of course, the first thing you say to me is you're Arcturian, and I'd heard that a few months before. It was like, okay. And I remembered I'd started my energy work already, but then I remember asking you specifically, how do I work with them? Because I knew I needed to work with them. I just didn't know how to do it. And so I think the more you start deciding to make them, I know for me, like every session I do with, whether it's clients or, if I'm just doing something on a live stream, I always call them in. That was your advice to me, call them in. And I think for me, the more time I spend with you, especially at that farm, they're very well aware. I'm pretty convinced there is a giant portal. I can see it that sits above the house. So the fact that it's constant activity there, but like you, that was such a different experience for me too, because watching that open up was, because, we're used to seeing things move. We're used to seeing things here.
Yeah.
But that was literally watching like a physical representation of the different dimensions that we're a part of in that instant. Because it was just an instant. I mean, it didn't last long. But it was very powerful. And I think the more that we're tapping into the energy around us, because it is, we've hit on everything. We've talked about circles. We've talked about healing, and healing is not linear, right? The universe likes to send things back around every once in a while to be like, hey, did you actually figure it out this time, right? Like it's just this spiral, I think is how I sort of look at it, is how healing works. Because of course, linear is only a concept to us. But then I also think the more we channel that energy, whether it's God energy, whether it's, it's a galactic energy, I do believe that it is at its core one energy. Is it a collective consciousness field that we tap into? I don't know. I know what I've experienced. I know my opinion and my personal thought on the galactics is I feel like they're a direct offshoot of that source that we're channeling. I've seen enough of what they do as healers. They've given me some things to use in sessions to work with people specifically. That's an Arcturian energy. I think the biggest thing for me in that experience, in a long-winded way of saying, is it was just proof for me that everything is truly connected. Whether you're 2 feet on the ground, whether you're hanging out in 5D, whether you're healing, you're hurting, whatever, there's still this one thing that unifies all of us, and it's energy. But how willing are we willing to tap into it for the goodness of everyone else around us instead of just ourselves? Yeah. And I think that's a lot of what we're missing. Like if they taught how energy worked in the human body and in our immediate field as kids, what a totally different planet we'd be living on. Yeah. I think it would be a much nicer place to be, but we're, and I think a lot of people 2023 I've been very lucky this year. 2023 was good to me. But I have a lot of friends, Andrew, and I've watched you go through a lot this year, that didn't have a great 2023. But I think for some people too, that's a shedding of energy, setting up maybe for a better time next year. Because I think we get to a point, Annie, you and I discussed this at length, there's certain decisions in life and changes we have to make that we're not willing to do. So the universe is like, okay, I'm going to make you do them. Right? Because that is energy in your life that is taking up space. It's no longer serving any good. And if you're not going to do the things to actively remove it yourself, the universe is going to kick you in the ass and basically say, okay, well, now you're going to have to figure this shit out in a less ideal environment and situation. But I think that for a lot of people, 2023 really sucked. But I think that's because it's paving the way for beautiful energy to come through in 2024. But you have to believe that too. Like, you can't believe your suffering is going to continue. Like, you have to be willing to shed the energy, recognize it for what it is, and then hope for the good new stuff to come in. Because without that thought pattern, it's going to continue.
Yeah.
Bingo.
You know, and I don't really think that 2023 sucked. I think it was,
but it was a hard year.
Complicated. And there was a great deal of, I mean, it feels like the whole freaking world is at war. The death and the destruction and the deterioration of our environment, and you know, it's all mind-boggling to me. But some of the best things that have ever happened in my life happened this year.
This is true.
You know, so I can't take that and, you know, pick up a Post-it note,
like a blanket,
and write, this was good, this was bad, this was mediocre, this was benign, this was meaningful, this was meaningless. If everything is one thing, if everything is consciousness and existence and energy, no matter what we call it, in the same way that, you know, I don't think of God as he or she. To me, it's it. And it's the stuff that holds the molecules together, the quark theorem. It is love, omnipresent. And I think that when we deliberately tap into that, to that vibrational force, the healing begins. And I truly believe that we can work together in tandem to heal the world of its woes. I truly believe that. And it's really about the only thing that I can say I believe, because the rest of it, like Rupert, I don't know for sure. Nobody does. And if they tell you they know for sure, they're not only lying to you, they're lying to themselves, because no one knows for sure. And I don't think that we're supposed to necessarily. Even the spirits will not divulge where they are. Maybe they don't know where they are. I know, but at the very least, I don't think they're allowed to tell us. And maybe that's part of the mystery of life, you know, and death and afterlife.
We don't need a new hobby if we had all the answers. Where would the fun be if we had all the answers? Like, what the hell would we do now? Like, if we didn't have, you know, all this fantastical questions and things to explore and rabbit holes to dive down, what else would we be doing? Life would be a lot more boring if we had all the answers. I think.
And you can not know, and not knowing can actually be a solid place to stand on. Because some people think uncertainty means that your life is just chaos. No. Chaos, mythologically, chaos and order work together. And that's why a couple of weeks ago, when there was all the controversy with Cody and Satori, I kept feeling they're a symbol for what's happening in various communities right now. Because the name Cody means helper. The name Satori in Zen Buddhism means sudden enlightenment. So Satori is kind of like that symbol of Kabbalistic Hesed, of just everything coming at you. The name Cody, helper, that's kind of the Gevura, the Tiferet, or whatever, that limits the divine flow but aims it. And I always use the illustration of playing a guitar. If you just strum E, A, D, G, B, E, you can't write a song like that. But you limit the oscillations of the strings, by applying a chord, now there's harmony, right? And so you have the chaos of the EADGBE, you have the gavura, the limitation of the chords you're playing, boom, and you get harmony, right? And so those two things work together. You can not know, and not knowing the chaos is just the open strings, but then there's a principle you can apply to it of just knowing, okay, well, there's some kind of, or whatever that is for you. It can be love, it can be anything, it can be a deity, it can be some kind of philosophy of life, but there's some kind of ordering principle you apply to that chaos, and you can actually stand on uncertainty in the same way that Niagara Falls is never the same Niagara Falls.
Ever.
You never, it's always different.
Mm-hmm.
Second by second by second, because it's never the same water molecules you're looking at, and yet it has form to it. And you see it, you know that's Niagara Falls or whatever falls you're looking at. And when you guys were talking about seeing orange lights a moment ago, there's always, that's always, and I think that's pretty common, right? The orange is always there. And that was just like ringing in my mind for some reason. Orange, orange, orange. Why? Well, when you look at an apple, you don't call it red. When you look at a banana, you don't call it yellow. When you look at a lemon, you don't call it yellow. But when we look at an orange, we call it orange. The best thing we can call it is what it looks like, right? The word and the thing are the same to us. And so it's kind of like uncertainty and certainty in one package, right? So if that makes any sense, it makes sense in my weird brain. But like you can not know. And not knowing can actually be a firm, solid thing that you stand on. And that's actually the best way to approach life, is to live in mystery like that. G.K. Chesterton said the mystic has always been the most sane person among us. He's always had one foot planted firmly on earth and the other in fairyland. And because of that, he's sane. Right? So you can absolutely not know and live just gobsmacked by the awesomeness of reality and all its unknowableness, and still be standing on solid ground somehow.
It's not counterintuitive. Just like it's not counterintuitive to be a spiritual warrior for peace.
Right.
Because there are some things worth fighting for. And if you must raise your voice in protest, it does not mean that you must raise your fist in protest, nor does it mean that you must raise a weapon in protest. No, it is complicated. It is convoluted. It has been a difficult year full of challenges. But, among this group, and I'll answer my own question first, do you feel that it was a year of tremendous personal growth? And for me, yes.
Absolutely.
I agree with that too, as well.
Yeah.
It was a lot of, like you said, I would say stress is how I'm going to word it, but it was a tough year, but the growth has been enormous, I think. So.
Same on all.
Yeah, for me, dealing with long COVID for the past year and few months, it has only been the last 2 weeks, maybe week even, that I feel at maybe 70%.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I honestly didn't until we would start to travel and things, and that's when it really hit me. But my growth now, things are starting to settle down for all of us. Remember, Andrea, when we talked about Bradley?
Yes.
And his last hope. All I can say now that Bradley's in such a good place, and I don't worry so much about him. And then, Lindsay has her Josh, and they're working away. And so we are definitely in such a better place. Yeah.
Well, we're going to get together on New Year's Eve. Bill, who obviously we're going to take up a collection, will be his secret Santa. We're going to get Bill a clock, a new clock. Okay, so we went from 5 minutes to 3 minutes.
We talk about that in the chat.
I'm the
man you're just going to yell at Bill.
Okay, he's chronologically impaired. Okay, it's all that I can say. And apparently there's Bill, it's like, I don't know. It's sad. It's sad. So yeah, all right, we'll all pitch in. We'll get him a new clock for Christmas. No, we only need like 2 minutes left, and I don't know. Does Amazon deliver on Christmas Day? It's the only way I'm going to get it to him in a timely way. Get it in a timely way? Did you? Okay. I love you all with all my heart, and it's hard to say goodbye to you tonight. This has been one of my favorite shows ever. Oh my God, we covered I don't know how much territory, and the outpouring of affection that I feel for all of you. Well, I'll be in touch with all of you personally.
And we love everybody in chat.
And everybody that joined us tonight. They all belong with us.
Yes,
we are together. You know, the only thing constant in the universe is change. And we are the birds of a feather who flock together, and we're all fluxed up. We are, we're all flocked up. We're all in this together, because that's the truth of our being. The separation is an illusion, and we love each other and we reach out to each other. And I hope that everyone who was a part of this broadcast tonight is leaving it feeling more hopeful and more deeply connected than they were as they arrived to a world awakening tonight. So on that note, I thank you all for joining me. I love you dearly, and I'll talk to you later. Okay? Be the light you seek. Good night.